We have lots of wildlife today and professionals who manage that wildlife. But what's our final conservation career that we need to ensure the future of wildlife conservation? It's professionals who educate the public and also recruit the next generation to support wildlife conservation.
All right, let's explore more conservation careers. Take one. What's the history of conservation careers here?
So most people don't understand the transition that has occurred within Fish and Wildlife agencies across the West. The New Mexico Department of Game and Fish is well over 100 years old, and it started back in the early 1900s with conservation officers, then known as game wardens. So over the years, we have grown as an agency to include biologists, both terrestrial and aquatic biologists, and then a huge team of information and education staff to help bring the public into what we do as a conservation agency.
It sounds like a lot of different careers, but who pays for all those professionals?
So the New Mexico Department of Game and Fish is funded solely from the sale of hunting and fishing licenses and federal taxes that are collected on hunting and fishing equipment.
Are there other ways to support your conservation programs?
There's several projects here in New Mexico that you can get involved in. We have a Share with Wildlife program that focuses on non-game species and non-game habitat restoration, and it's user pay donated. You can also get a license plate. The part of that income comes directly back into the non-game species in New Mexico. If you're interested in protecting through poaching cases, you can donate to the Operation Game Thief program, and that money goes directly into helping solve poaching cases and making the bad guys pay for what they've done to our resources that are out there.
All right, so let's say we jail all the poachers. But what's the balance between wildlife and honest people who pursue wildlife?
So wildlife populations across the country are starting to increase, while the number of hunting licenses getting sold are starting to decrease. You might wonder about that conflict that's going to occur as those two start to go further across. Now here in New Mexico, we're pretty lucky because our number of hunting license sales are staying pretty much steady across the board. And this is really good news here in New Mexico because hunting licenses pay for conservation across not only big game species, but also some of the smaller critters, some voles and birds and lizards and snakes. And that is all funded through the sale of hunting and fishing licenses. So that all of the citizens, both New Mexico residents and people who visit New Mexico, benefit from seeing wildlife in this great state.
All right, so I guess we all need to thank the people who actually fund conservation. But what if the number of hunters declines?
So because the number of hunting licenses is on the decline across the United States, and because we're worried that that might affect us here in New Mexico, we have a series of programs that are called Hunter and Angler Recruitment, Retention, and Reactivation, or R3 for short. So these programs are designed to get people of all ages engaged in hunting and fishing activities. Because a hunter, deep down, becomes really engaged with the local world around them. So when you're out hunting and you have a bull elk or a cow elk come by, your heart starts pounding and you get excited and you care about what's out there. So through these R3 programs, we're not only creating people that care about the animals and the wildlife and the ecosystem in this area, but also creating a new funding source for the agency. So if you really break down the R3 concept, getting a whole family engaged in outdoor pursuits such as hunting is really exciting. I mean, think about it. How cool is it if you're out there with a child, a parent, like a daughter in my case, and a parent and a grandparent out there enjoying the outdoor environments all together? So really, through all of this, you have a true extension on America's hunting heritage. For me, the engagement that I've had in the R3 programs, it's truly amazing when you're out in the field, whether you're just going shooting or whether you're going hunting, and somebody has that moment where they harvest an animal or they hit their first clay target or they shoot the bow for the first time, and you just see their eyes light up, and you know that this isn't a passion that's going to be one day and it's going to disappear at the end of the day or the end of the week, but it's something that's going to sustain them and bring them back into the outdoor recreation industry and keep them engaged in our history and our heritage and engaged with our wildlife.
What tools do you use with your R3 programs?
An important part of hunter recruitment, retention, and reactivation is the education. Hunter education in this country has been around for over 50 years, And it's an important part of the process because to become a good, responsible, ethical hunter, it's important to know how wildlife is managed across the country. You learn about carrying capacities and how we know how many animals we can harvest from the field and make it educational. You learn about safety and survival. You learn about the laws and regulations, which is really important. And while every law can't be covered, you also learn where to go to find the rest of the rules so that you can become a knowledgeable, educated, and ethical hunter. So if you're interested in taking a hunter education class, and it's strongly recommended that everybody, no matter your age or if you have experienced hunting, it's always great to go back and get a refresher. It's really easy. Just go to the Game and Fish website and click on the Hunter Education tab, and there are different methods which you can use to take hunter education. You can come into a classroom setting and go through the step one by one. It's a really hands-on, engaging, activity-based, in a classroom setting with somebody who has been hunting for quite a few years. And often our agency staff, our conservation officers, our hunter education staff are in the classroom there as well. You can also do an online program, and you can work through that whole process online and get your certification at the end. We also have a home study program where you can get the information and then come to a shortened class and have the hands-on activities in that class. So you have no reason at all for not taking hunter education.
Is there anything else we should think about if we're considering a career in conservation?
So do you want a career where you just sit at a desk all day and work at a computer? Or do you want a career where you can get outside, work with wildlife, ride in helicopters, become a conservation officer, become a biologist, and spend your time outside? The choice is all yours.
Yep, you have all kinds of choices in life. From doing the right thing, even when no one else is watching, like Leopold said, to choices in what career you'll have someday. As for me, there's no choice, only a direction.